They out here saying America did illegal strikes on Iran. Guys, the strikes aren't illegal. They're just undocumented. It's okay.
Man, I woke up in America feeling so much safer now that Donald Trump bombed an elementary school. Thank God he killed over 50 little girls at an elementary school. We're all so much safer for it. The world is a better place for it. I'm already seeing so many comments saying, he needed to do this, guys. He needed to do this. He needed to bomb this elementary school. He needed to kill all those little kids. That was necessary. Just like we needed to kill little kids in Gaza, right? And this is why I get so frustrated when I see Trump's fan base, a bunch of pro-life people, fighting so hard to protect fetuses. But when stuff like this happens, they'll say, you know, it's a really hard decision, but it had to happen.
Yes, we are going to war with Iran. No, this is not another opportunity for you guys to display your bizarre obsession with Jews. You don't need to like Israel, but if you like any aspect of the luxuries that you have living in Western society, then you need to realize that radical Islam is and has always been a threat to your own existence. President Trump campaigned on not letting Iran build nuclear weapons in 2016 and 2020 and again in 2024. But what did Iran do in 2026? They built nuclear weapons. If you have any survival instinct whatsoever and are familiar with the 60,000 terrorist attacks conducted by radical Islam since 9/11, you will realize that it is time to neutralize this threat and make sure that Iran never holds a nuclear weapon.
But they don't say that about abortions. They say it about brown kids, though. I'm just ready to hear all the excuses about why this was so necessary and how we needed to bomb that elementary school with little kids in it.
There is no such thing as a preemptive strike. There is no such thing as a preventative attack. That is an act of aggression. What Israel is doing in Iran is an act of aggression.
Israel successfully cleansed Rafah. They successfully bulldozed Rafah. They ethnically cleansed a city. We were literally posting hashtags that said all eyes on Rafah. And now the city is rubble. And there's are there still supporters of Israel? I mean, I'm so confused. How are they able to just chug along with impunity? What the fuck is the international court doing? I'm so, and maybe this is just because I've been so privileged my entire life, but this is shocking to me. I was raised to believe there was at least some sense of justice, and that one of the worst, I think maybe the worst crimes known to man are genocide. Genocide includes the killing of innocent lives, right? That's as bad as it gets. So there is no justice.
So Israel's bombing Iran again, which means the U.S. is bombing Iran, because Israel doesn't do anything without, U.S. funding and cooperation. And to those who asked why the U.S. continues to support Israel, it's because we want Israel to do our dirty work and bomb Iran. So there's that. Reminding everyone that all of the diaspora, the Iranian diaspora that's saying Iranians love this and are happy to be bombed, those people, they're full of shit. They're posting, from LA. Nobody wants their fucking country to be bombed, no matter how much they hate their fucking government, dude. Take it from somebody who really hates their government, okay? I don't want my country to be bombed because that means that people in my country have to suffer and die. Americans are so disconnected from the reality of what being bombed and what being under siege and at war means. I saw a tweet that was Americans will never be anti-war until one good missile hits. And it's true, because we've literally never experienced it. We experienced, Pearl Harbor, and I still haven't gotten over that. And 9/11, which wasn't even a bombing. And you saw how we fucking responded to that. We don't know what a bombing campaign feels like. And maybe until we do, we're going to continue to believe this fucking astroturfed bullshit that Iranians actually fucking want this. Nobody wants to be fucking bombed. They bombed a goddamn school today. I just want to remind Americans that, like, this is where our tax dollars are going. I just saw a video yesterday of a disabled senior woman who called in to a call-in show on C-SPAN and was sobbing because she's lost 28 pounds in the last year because she can't afford food, because her SNAP benefits got cut and she was barely making ends meet before, and now she's not making ends meet, and she's fucking hungry. She's hungry. Malnutrition deaths among the elderly are on the rise. Do you hear me? Our country is letting disabled and elderly people starve to death. Meanwhile, they're spending tens, if not hundreds of millions per day to bomb Iran, to bomb other countries. Fuck this shit.
Trump posted this last night at 4:30 in the morning after bombing Iran. The attacks on Iran are not about what they're telling you. It's not nuclear weapons. It's not about the protesters. It's not about liberation. No, it's so that Trump can continue the lie that there was foreign interference when he lost the election in 2020, and he wants to federalize elections and seize control. And how do we know that? Because there is a draft executive order circulating that alleges foreign interference so that the president can claim a national emergency. Now, this executive order did not come from Trump. It came from activists that are creating it. But what is contained in this executive order is all things that Trump is for. New voter registration, restricting mail-in ballots, proof of citizenship. Trump himself said that he thought Republicans should control elections and nationalize the voting. And remember that he sent Tulsi Gabbard to Georgia. Why would the director of national intelligence, who does not deal with domestic issues, be at a search warrant at an elections office? It's because Trump is looking for a way to spread the lie that there was foreign interference so that he can declare an emergency and illegally claim powers for the presidency that are not given by the Constitution. Oh, and this is extremely unpopular, by the way. 54% of adults oppose Trump's desire for the federal government to take over elections and vote counting. 23% support it. So that's just the MAGA cult. They don't give a shit about the Constitution anyway, so of course they'd support it.
There has never been less of a plan. Watching the footage coming out of Iran this morning was horrifying enough, but then watching Trump's speech about it made the whole situation so much scarier. There is no plan for what happens next. This isn't even regime change.
You can't impeach a president during a war. I just want y'all to know that what we are witnessing right now, the collaboration between that blue and white state and Donald Trump to attack Iran, and now they just said they took out like the president or some shit of Iran, killed like 57 schoolgirls, and Iran is bombing Dubai where U.S. citizens are. It's very strategic. Not only that, but Donald Trump did make a statement saying that our troops, some United States troops that are positioned in Israel, by the way, right now, not the United States, will lose their life. There will be some casualties. He's willing to make that sacrifice. And
the lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war, but we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future.
Bro, did y'all's president just get online and say, yes, some of us might have to die, but that's a sacrifice he's willing to make? I'm confused. How did I get in it? How is it we now? It wasn't we when you decided to bomb that school and kill 50 little girls, but now it's we? I just feel like maybe a couple of steps were skipped here. Surely there's some other people first in line. What about those ICE agents, the true American soldiers? What are they doing? How did you skip to our family members, our people? What about your people? Is little Barrett going? I just feel like, I don't know. If he's not going, I feel like perhaps there should be exceptions for everybody else. All I'm saying is,
Savannah, slow down. Name of what? Not being impeached. Because you can't impeach a president during a war. And they're going to try to reconstitute this as national safety on why we shouldn't have the midterm elections. I bet you Donald Trump is going to say we shouldn't have midterm elections because we can't guarantee there is an electoral compromise due to the situation that he just started with Iran. That's all. That's all.
This is the first half of regime change. Usually with regime change, you have a successor picked out. You have a transition plan. We don't have that. Trump made that clear. We are attacking this country, destroying its infrastructure, and then telling 90 million people to figure out what happens next. I mean, the US government has always done stuff like this, but we used to at least send in the CIA. Some spies would poke around, there would be a coup, and we would install a friendly regime. It was morally indefensible, but at least it was a plan. We can't even do conspiracies right anymore. All we're doing is taking out the Iranian regime and hoping that there's not a civil war in its place. This is psychotic. Also, we can't forget what it is this is costing. Not just in reputation, but actual dollars. Every time you see a missile hit a building, that missile cost $2 million. That's how much money we are spending on this. Just this morning, the government probably spent about $600 million. Just blown up. We like saying that this is our tax dollars at work, but that's kind of a lie. The US government doesn't have tax dollars just sitting around. This is borrowed money. This is credit card spending. In a time when all we talk about is affordability, healthcare, rent, groceries. We're literally watching our money blow up halfway around the world, and we're getting nothing in return. Like I said, there's no plan here. Nobody knows what happens next. But we do know there will be a bill to pay, and it's going to come to us.
The most patriotic position you can take right now is we need to lose this coming war. We need to get our shit rocked. And I say this again, not because I hate America, but because I am patriotic, because I love America. I say this as a person who joined the military at 18, who obsesses over politics and history, and who was a civics teacher. Maybe I care too much. I love this country. I love the people in it. I love the land. I fucking hate our government, and not just Donald Trump, the whole fucking system that allowed Donald Trump to come to power, that serves the interests of capitalists and leaves people with nothing, just exploits them, takes everything from them and gives them nothing. And now because our education system is deliberately garbage and people have been left with nothing, they're desperate and elected Donald Trump, who's now going around acting like a rabid dog. And this administration is just acting monstrously. Sometimes people need to get beat up so they know to stop going around acting like a fucking psycho, picking fights with people and being a piece of shit. The U.S. needs to get beat the fuck up. And again, I say this as a patriot. It's the most patriotic position to take. And I'm sure the right's going to lose it over this video. And, oh, he's not a patriot. You know what? You're all lazy idiots who are so unpatriotic. You elected someone to burn this country down, kick people out of it. You couldn't have been fucked to read your history and learn anything about this country. You don't give a fuck. None of y'all are patriots. Go fuck yourselves.
Oh my God, guys, the Israelis are in their bunkers and they are saying, pray for us. Y'all, what are some prayers that you want to send towards Israel?
When U.S. went to war with Iraq under the false pretense of weapon of mass destruction, I thought there's nothing worse than that, like a regime attack another regime under a lie. I guess I was wrong. There's something worse than that. Attack without even needing to lie.
Every time a president needs to redirect this country's attention, they don't hold a press conference. They don't admit failure. They don't fix the issue. They reach for the one phrase that's covered up more mess than tarp on a crime scene: national security. Because in America, national security doesn't always mean protection. Sometimes it means stop asking questions. And the playbook goes back way further than people think. Take Woodrow Wilson. The economy was unstable. Racial violence was ripping through cities. Labor strikes were everywhere. And instead of dealing with that, he pointed the country towards foreign radicals and internal enemies. That framing justified censorship, raids, surveillance, and deportations, all while domestic crises kept burning. That was the blueprint, and no president after him really ever let it go. And administrations across both parties used the same move. Harry Truman was dealing with inflation, a housing crisis, and a huge labor unrest. He didn't invent the Red Scare, but he sure leaned on it. He launched a federal loyalty program so broad that millions of workers could be investigated for sympathies that no one could really define. And suddenly, the story wasn't economic instability. It was communists in our government. Franklin D. Roosevelt used military necessity to justify incarcerating Japanese Americans. Despite intelligence agencies reporting no evidence of sabotage, national security language did the heavy lifting for a decision rooted in racism, politics, and panic. Dwight Eisenhower saw school segregation and racial terror threatening this country from the inside. And instead of addressing the white violence driving it, he worried publicly that the Soviet Union would exploit American unrest. It reframed a domestic crisis into geopolitical embarrassment. Richard Nixon turned crime into a national security threat. Ronald Reagan turned drugs into one. George W. Bush turned terror into the umbrella for surveillance and endless war. Donald Trump has turned immigration into this shit show. Different decades, different parties, same calculation. If you convince Americans that the biggest threat is out there, they stop asking why everything inside is falling apart. National security doesn't just shape foreign policy. It justifies surveillance, secrecy, expanded police powers, ballooning military budgets, labeling dissent as unpatriotic. And while cameras turn outward, domestic failures quietly slip off the national agenda. You don't hear about failing schools if coverage is dominated by border threats. You don't hear about poverty if leaders say the real danger is overseas extremism. You don't hear about racial violence unless the government reframes unrest as a security threat. It's not protection, it's narrative management. So here's the truth that nobody teaches. National security has always been a mirror that presidents turn outward, especially when they don't want the country looking inward. Every time you hear that phrase, I need you to ask, what domestic failure is this supposed to pull my attention away from? Who benefits when I'm afraid of the world instead of questioning what's happening at home? Because presidents don't reach for national security when they're strong. They reach for it when they're cornered. And once you see that pattern, yeah, you can't unsee it.